Hello everyone, Kevin from K-Tech Services back again for another educational digitizing video. Today's video is going to be pretty quick. If we're going to be just talking about file formats. I get a lot of questions a lot of times about the different file formats and what they do and everything like that. So you know what? I decided to make a video. Okay, so let me just go to tools and options here, and we'll go to file association. So these are all the file formats in the embroidery industry that Melco can read. Okay, now the first two are pretty much wireframing or object-oriented file formats is what I call it. But nobody uses CND. Now that's a true condense or a true wireframing file, but that was back in the 80s, back in my day. But Melco uses OFM, which is what Melco calls a project file, and the rest of them are pretty much expanded file formats. And what those are is basically machine code. Um, the machine doesn't understand wireframing data because if you have 4 points, it doesn't understand that. It gets converted, but actually Melco actually embeds the expanded data to in the object-oriented file. But it's wireframing and a little bit of or expanded too. It's kind of all kind of built into there, and also retains color information if you set up the colors of threads and stuff. So it's a pretty crazy file. But let's touch on that a little bit. I just have this written out here. What is an object or OFM file? Is a project file that Melco calls it. Um, what does that mean? Okay, so you have wireframing or condense, some people call it, and then you have expanded data, which is the machine files. Um, but what an OFM file does, it can retain, condense, or wireframing data. It could be all that, or and then it could be all expanded data inside the OFM, or it could be a little bit of condense and a little or wireframing and a little bit of expanded together. That's what cool thing about the OFM project file that can do it. Now, the other and pretty much all the other ones are pretty much expanded or machine code file formats. Okay. That are here. There are a couple that are object oriented. EMB is an object or project file, and so is Pulse is a object. Those files don't really get the machine doesn't quite understand it, but it gets converted before it gets over to the machine kind of thing. That's how that works. Okay, so I just have two examples up here. I have DST. If you click on the greater than and then blow out the stitches here a little bit, you can see it'll pretty much say expanded. Now, of course, a DST is always expanded data, which is machine code, what the machine understands. It understands movement. And I need to move over here to make a stitch. I need to move over here to make a stitch. Okay, that's what a machine code is, or expanded file does. Okay, and then I have the same file, but it's OFM, which is actually in wireframing. So I'll click on this to open it up a little bit, and then you can see all the wireframing data. It's not going to say expanded. Okay, always expanded files are always going to say expanded over here in the stitch list, and then over here on this one, which is what it's done in wireframing data, it's always going to walk normal column. It's going to complex fill. It's always going to be like that. That's how you can kind of tell what you're working in. And now, of course, I just did another video how to edit expanded files because expanded files can be challenging. Okay, so you just gotta, you always want to try to get it done in wireframing or in the only way to really get wireframing in Melco is actually from a Melco design shop. I mean, that's how it works. Now, of course, if you use another digitizer and they don't use Melco, you're going to get expanded. You won't able to get the wireframing because it's done in Melco software or for that matter. So, that's kind of the key thing of that aspect. The reason why I'm kind of saying that because it's much easier to edit a wireframing file, versus an expanded file. Again, as I mentioned, check out that video that I did, because expanded file can be very challenging and tedious at times because are complex because you're dealing with machine code and stuff, and it's much harder to edit those type of files than a wireframing file. if I can actually say that right. Okay, so that's pretty much in a nutshell of the two different file formats, and then pretty much all the other file formats are pretty much just machine files for because everybody had to have their own little code and stuff like that in that aspect of it. So, but again, you pretty much want to try to if you can digitize yourself, please watch my videos. They'll help you through digitizing your own stuff. If not, just try to find a digitizer that actually programs in Melco's language. Okay. So that's pretty much it of this video. I appreciate it. If you can give me a thumbs up, I help it so I can do more videos. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.